Oh, here you go. Oh, we're live.
Hello. So here we go. I'm gonna record now. All right.
And then I am going to share at that very second. And
All right. Well, I'm live. Welcome everybody to another episode of Crown and Chakra. I'm here with my dear, amazing sister, Dasha Love. Hey, Dasha.
hi. Woo! Happy to be here. Alexa, stop. And
Love it. Love it.
so
So,
happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
yes,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
you're
you.
welcome. Thanks for showing up and sharing your amazing, amazing energy with everybody that's watching this
Woo!
podcast. And maybe you could just share a little bit about you, your journey, who you are, and yeah, I mean, where do we begin? We could just start there.
Oh, awesome. Thanks for having me. I am Dasha Love. Absolutely thrilled to be here. I was just talking to Kat yesterday and we couldn't get off the phone and the vibration and resonance was there. So I was like, wow, we are just vibing together, sister. And we're going to elevate each other up and who knows where it's going to go. But I see it being so freaking beautiful. So I just honor you and thank you for letting me be here. I wrote a book, actually a couple books, but one in particular that where I demonstrate how I transform my path, my life, my awakening transformation. And recently, I published the 9th and final edition where I take the reader on a journey of awakening. Because 5 years ago, I was a broken child. I come from a very difficult childhood, very hard upbringing. I didn't get along with my mom. She was very, very strict. She wanted me to be a certain way, and I had a lot of animosity, a lot of anger, which I didn't even know I had. So then psychedelic medicine, ayahuasca, slowly started opening me up to the realization that I had so much anger toward my mom. That is after my mom passed away, because my mom passed away 5 years ago, and that is when my awakening had begun. But a few months after she passed away, I realized through ayahuasca that I had so much anger because of all the abuse I went through growing up. And all of that abuse made me feel like I wasn't good enough. And all that abuse is all I knew. So those are the type of relationships I kept attracting into my life. So then by writing the book for 4.5 years, I literally transformed every area of my life by truly learning how to love every part of myself. My sexuality, my sensuality, my form of expression, my dancing, my explorative nature, all of these things that I've always loved that, my mom would tell me wouldn't make any money and, things like that. I've learned how to love them and create abundance. And now I'm in the most amazing relationship ever. I'm doing what I love. I'm sharing the message and I'm just excited for everybody to wake up, to be able to see that it's possible to live a better life, that anger doesn't have to control, that it's possible to wake up and create, manifest any kind of dream life. So, so I've written 4 books so far, but that's the main one. That's the transformation journey. I've created a music album. I'm teaching. I'm dancing. I'm traveling the world. I've lived in an RV, and all of this is because I started to wake up. So
amazing. So beautiful. I love what you just shared in your journey, because as women, we are conditioned to have a particular idea of what life is going to be like from such a young age. And so knowing the path and the journey to self-love and in full radical acceptance to all parts of ourselves is so beautiful. And I love what you are sharing about your story, because I can resonate with that with my own journey as well, because I had to go through a lot of de-spellings and deprogrammings about the culture that I grew up in, and then experiencing a whole nother culture growing up at the same time, and then being confused, just like a confused child of like, I don't belong anywhere. And, I grew up in
Yes, yes.
cultures at the same time. And so I'm looking at like one culture in the West, one culture in the East, and then figuring out like they're all very confusing. And I'm a woman, and I'm like, I'm supposed to be the good wife, or like the thing, like this story of narrative that has been like perpetuated over and over again. But then in my awakening phase many years ago, I realized with my real eyes that, hey, I don't have I don't have to go and choose that story any longer. I can choose my own story because I have the pen and the paper in my own consciousness. I can choose to do that because I've gotten to know who I really truly am. So once I realized that, I felt so empowered to own my story and not be in this, how do you say this, the way
Cycle.
that
Cycle.
we've been told. Yeah, it's like getting out of the, I call it the the washing machine cycle of
Yep, yep.
looping, like the loop of the story that has been like over and over and over and over again. And so now it's time for a brand new story. And
Yeah.
love what you shared there, because for many people, not just women, but many people, they might feel like they're in a loop cycle, or they're just, they want to get to where they absolutely know they imagine their lives to be, but they don't know how to get there. And so I love hearing your story because it just affirms like the path that we're both in at this time, to continue to emanate and share these stories with other people, because we're storytellers and this is what
You're
we
right.
do, and this is our humanity
Hmm.
that we all co-create together with each other. It's
Hmm.
vast and it's infinite, and we can't get lost in other people's projected stories of what they feel is the truth about our lives. And so by
Right.
you reclaiming that, there is empowerment from within, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So what I've come to realize after all these years of writing is that what we see, the projections that are being projected through other people, are just parts of ourselves. So it's like when you get triggered or upset about something somebody does, you're just triggered and upset at yourself because there's parts of you that still need healing. Because it's like
Yeah.
if we are one consciousness, if we believe in oneness, in unity, then we realize that no one is separate from us. And everything we are experiencing, everybody else is experiencing. And it's like, did we come here in this lifetime to be strong enough and powerful enough to realize that nothing is personal, to take back our power and find our own happiness regardless of what happens outside of us? Yes. Like, did we fight for this? Like, our life is 13.8 billion years in the making. We didn't come here by accident at this time. We've come here to wake up.
I like to think
To
that we volunteered to come here.
yes, yes, yes. I feel like
Volunteering a tribute to
yeah,
go and shift the energy structure of the planet, to make sure that we are emanating our own truth. And so it's almost like this infinite knowing within all of us that's constantly there. It's like a 24/7 live stream, just like how you and I are recording this live right now. It's
yep.
24/7 ongoing. And it's so beautiful and it's so amazing. And maybe you can share a little bit more about your story, because I know we talked about it a little bit yesterday, but for a lot of people that are watching this podcast interview on this live right now, they don't know.
Yeah. Of course, of course. I'm glad you asked. So, growing up, ever since I could remember, from the age of 6, and writing helped me revisit these memories where my emotions were trapped and like kind of recollect them. Um, Ever since I could remember, ever since I was little, my mom always had this idea of how she wanted me to be, how fast she wanted me to learn, and where she wanted me to be at any given moment. And obviously, I was a rebellious child. That was just my character. That was my personality trait. Like, I wanted my freedom since I was little. And she just kept pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. So all I wanted to do was get away. So she kept saying you have to learn, like when I was little, you have to learn the multiplication table. And then I just couldn't get it. Like, it just, I had a blockage in my learning ability. And then she would get frustrated with me. I would start screaming, yelling, crying, and running away,
Mhm.
essentially, because I
Mhm.
couldn't handle the amount of pressure that she was putting on me. And it made me feel like I was stupid, like I'm supposed to be doing something, but I couldn't figure it out. And she couldn't create that container for me to be able to be vulnerable and maybe learn at my own pace in my own way. And through the writing, I mean, after recollecting all these memories, I realized that she was really hard on herself. She had so many things that she didn't deal with. So that's why she was projecting them on me. She just wanted me to have a better life
Mhm.
in the best way that she could, which is to educate me that if I have a good education, then I was going to have a good job, then I was going to be able to survive. Because I come from a family of immigrants. I was born in Russia, in Kazakhstan, moved to Israel, moved to America. There were many times when my family had no food and no electricity, when my family had to clean schools for a living. So after writing, I started to understand that my mom just didn't want me to live that life. She wanted me
Mhm.
to live a better life. And in her mind, if she was strict with me, if she was disciplining me, then I was going to get an education, then I was going to go somewhere in life. But she didn't realize that she was just projecting her fears, insecurities onto me through this form of discipline. And
Mhm.
that's what left me angry, bruised, always running away, trying to fill this void, this need to be loved through partying, through sex, through all kinds of things, where I felt this illusion of connection because I didn't have a connection to my mother. I had a hole in the soul, some people say. And I was
Mhm.
trying to fill that hole until I woke up, through the writing, through the psychedelic medicines, to realizing that I had to forgive my mom. And that forgiveness had nothing to do with her, and everything to do with me. Because
Yeah.
I was carrying this story, I was carrying the blame everywhere I went with me and constantly acting from that place of anger.
Yeah.
So it's like these lower vibrational states. I started to realize like where I was living. I was in shame, I was in grief, I was in anger. And from that place, it's impossible to create anything
Mhm.
because I'm blaming life, the people in it, the circumstances for where I am,
Mhm.
analyzing, over analyzing. And that's why I was attracting abusive relationships into my life my whole life, because I was unconsciously mimicking the kind of relationship I thought was normal.
Mm.
And it was like one abusive relationship after another because I couldn't figure out, I didn't have an idea of what it's like to be in a relationship that was heart opening, accepting, loving, because I wasn't accepting, forgiving, loving toward myself. So I couldn't give that to anyone else. So it was me all along. I had to wake up and do the work to realize where I was coming from, what was holding me back from experiencing the deliciousness of life. And that's when all these memories came up and my relationship with my mom. And ayahuasca actually started this whole process of transformation. But the integration took me 5 years. Like, integration was actually transforming my day-to-day life. And I used, breath work, meditation, all kinds of different seminars. I went to Landmark and I talk about all of them in the book. And it's just like help. It started the transformation process, but I had to do the daily work in order to really put myself in alignment with the type of person I wanted to be, which was loving, kind, patient, understanding.
Mhm.
See, I couldn't be that person right away because I had all this anger. And the way I like to refer to it is when we have a lot of anger from childhood, and a lot of us do because our parents weren't conscious, and who could blame them? Their parents weren't conscious either. So we're just mimicking each other until we stop the cycle and we begin a new cycle. So you have to, like, all of us have to forgive and start this brand new life, but it requires a lot of work, a lot of
It
looking into
does,
the
yeah.
self, a lot of acknowledging the anger, a lot of release, a lot of repetition to learn how to let go, to forgive. And I use Oponopono for that. That's one of the tools.
Yes.
This amazing mantra on YouTube. It's from Hawaii, and it just really helped. And I like to refer to it. It helped charge my battery. So
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't receive love the way I needed to receive love when I was a child, my battery of love, my heart was depleted. And as I was, going through the psychedelics, then using Ho'oponopono, affirmations, meditation, my heart, my battery of love was slowly charging.
Yes.
And like day after day, month after month, year after year. And then now it's like overflowing. My battery has charged up. I can see and feel everything. I can see the child inside of each person when they are not happy with me. And I know it's not personal.
Yeah.
It's like I always go back now to myself and my inner child and what I want to focus on and my own happiness, regardless of the people around me, because everyone is here on their own awakening journey. And all I can do is just be a conduit, is just
Absolutely.
demonstrate what it's like to be free, be alive, manifest.
Yes. And it's that sense of freedom of knowing that that is always within all of us, but we can't get to the feeling of freedom without forgiveness first. And I think that is such a big key to our own awareness, because a lot of people have this idea that when I get that relationship, when I get to the next $1 million, when I get to having somebody fix this thing for me, whatever the thing is, right? It's always the next thing, but they haven't forgiven themselves in that
Yeah.
part. And I love what you said about that, Dasha, because in my own journey as well, I found that the more that I forgive, the more that that space is created
Open.
for the vision that I have always wanted to attract to me. But the space needs to be created first through forgiveness. And I love that you mentioned the practice of Ho'oponopono. For those of you who don't know what Ho'oponopono is, it's a beautiful practice that I highly, highly encourage everyone to practice when you find that you are just feeling this sense of block or heart block with something that you haven't let go of from the past. And that is, um, I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. I
Yeah.
love you.
I'm sorry.
And what it does is that it emanates out not only forgiveness, but coming from this space of love, because we are from love. We've always come from the source of who we know we really are. And it is a big component of knowing how to create that space within so that you can move forward. And one of my coaches actually shared this with me, and I'm just gonna offer it up to everyone and for you that's listening to this, because your story is so beautiful. And I've always wondered about this with most of my experiences myself with past relationships. And I questioned, like, why didn't it work out, and I would be very hard on myself on these relationships of, like, I could have tried better, like I could have, should have, would have, like, but I can't should on myself all the time. So in order to move past it, I practice Ho'oponopono as well. And my coach told me that some people have a capacity to hold something, and that is still within their space of love, but that's only because that is their capacity at that time. And some of us have the immensity, the expansiveness of knowing what that possibility of love could be like, or a possibility of what our life is going to be like. And this person is doing the best that they can. And they have the capacity to hold it maybe in just a bucket. But we have the capacity to hold it in an ocean.
Right.
And so when he shared that with me, I was blown away. I was like in tears. I was crying. I was like, yes, it's true, because people in general are just doing their best. They want the
Right.
best for all of us. Like they want the best, and they want that, but that is all that they can give. So and that's what comes out, because that's all that they can give at the time. And it's not that, it's just that we have to learn how to be in gratitude with it, no matter what, no matter what.
Yeah.
And this is like the biggest, it took me years to learn this, about like accepting that, yes, no matter what, I am still in gratitude for that experience, because it taught me so much. And my ideas of what it's supposed to be, of like matching that, it was
Mhm.
shattered so many times, so many times, that I had to just get real with myself, you know.
So I would love to add a little bit on the Oponopono side, and
Yeah,
if that's okay with you, Kat.
absolutely.
And I loved how you said that when you open the container, when you realize that you can open the container to love, that your love is as vast as the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And what Oponopono does is actually, so if you read the lines on the screen of the Oponopono, and we can share this, I'm sure, under the video, it talks about how our life is being run by our subconscious, that we are only conscious of very little of what's really going on, that our life is all memories that are coming up to the surface, and we're not even aware why we're saying certain things, doing certain things, but it's all subconscious, it's all from the past. And what Oponopono does is bring forth these subconscious memories and heal them. It basically, exactly what you said, it opens the container to love, but it also helps reprogram these subconscious woundings, all of these time that we didn't feel love, all of this not time that we didn't feel forgiving, and it helps clear all of that out, all of that stuff from the past. It transforms the water molecules in the body with these incredible sentences. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. It changes everything because it changes the subconscious. It opens ourselves, like you said, to the ability to love and experience love that is as expanded, as wide as the ocean, because it's the container. Once we open it and we learn how to open it even more, even more, even more, because forgiveness, Oponopono, is literally the gate to opening the heart to unconditional love. And the more you practice, the more you open, you open, you open, you open, you open, until you're like, all right, it's so open, it's overflowing, I feel it. There's an ocean of love coming out of me. And then you're like, yeah, I have to share this with everybody. That's why I did this. Like, I have to share this. Everyone has to know the secrets.
So true.
Yes, yes, yes. And it's like and it's like it opens you up to realizing that you are the creator, you're the manifester. Like
Mhm.
once you open to love, now whatever you're creating from love. So now you're a resonance of love. So anything you want will come to you as long as you know what you want. Because when you know what you
That
want,
is the key. That is the key. You have to know what you want, because if you're just open to that and don't know what you want, anyone can sway you in any direction. So that's the other key to your
right,
key, everybody, is know exactly where your anchor points are with who you know you really are and what you truly desire and want for yourself, not because somebody's idea got projected on there, but what is your truth,
yes,
knowing your own truth, knowing your truth, so important, so
yes.
key.
So I feel that our truth is being the fully expressed version of who we are,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be with somebody else that we're expressing or by ourselves. It's our expression, whether it is through our words, through our writing, through our art, through our speaking, teaching, innovating. It's something that we are doing as we see the progressive realization toward our goal. So it's success is nothing more but a progressive realization toward a worthy goal, because we get to watch our own progression, our own transformation as a result of declaring something and going toward it, fully expressing ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you can fully express yourself with somebody else, regardless of whose idea it is, then great. But if you don't feel like you're fully expressed, and maybe this isn't your path, your idea, then you have to take back your power, because you have to
Owning
do
it.
you. Yeah, you
Gotta
have to
own all
do
parts.
you. Yes, yes, yes.
Exactly.
And
Be you. Be
embracing
embrace it.
every part of it, like if it's
Yeah.
sexuality that you've had like harnessed inside of you, but that's really something you want to unleash, then you have to follow this intuition and figure out how to unleash it, because everything that comes to us intuitively is divine guidance from source. And if we don't act on it, then we're shutting down the voice, the little voice that constantly tells us what we should be doing. You have to
So
learn
true.
to trust, because that little voice, if we don't listen and we don't trust, it's going to manifest into heartache, emotional pain, and then physical pain, because that's the body's way of telling us, hello, you're not listening to what you truly want to be doing. Hello, like, why are you fighting with me? Hello, just because people think it's weird but you think it's awesome, you're missing piece for all these people. You're a piece of the puzzle of consciousness, and if you don't go out and do this one thing that maybe all these people think is crazy, then we're missing out. The whole universe is like waiting for you to fill in this puzzle for this
Mm-hmm.
one consciousness, but you're not doing it. What's up? Like
Right.
this
And
is your moment to shine.
yes, I'm so glad you're mentioning this because this is so important to listen to that voice inside that that wants to be expressed, that wants to be shared. We all have that inside all of us. And I remember many, many years ago before I had my awakening, I was working in corporate and I felt like I had everything that I could ever want. And I know we talked about this
Coming from
yesterday, and I
corporate, yeah.
definitely resonate with what you shared with, I can have anything and everything that I want in life already at that point, and I did, but I was the unhappiest person that I ever knew, and I couldn't figure out why. And it was because I wasn't in my full self expression of my truth. It wasn't my truth. Doing the thing that I was doing before wasn't my truth. Being in a relationship with the other person wasn't my truth. And it wasn't until that I owned all parts of me and expressed all parts of me and became radically accepted in my own self first. It cannot happen with other people and like the outside world. You got to do it within yourself first, and then
Right.
it'll naturally just Fibonacci out into the other
Ripple and
parts
ripple.
of our emanation, and you'll see it. You'll have all these magical experiences that are being mirrored back to all of us, and it's such a beautiful way of being, and it's so effortless and it's so natural and it's so beautiful. And I asked myself this question many years ago. I said, wow, that was such a long journey to get to the point where I need to be at right now. But I also realized with my real eyes that if I would have never gone through all those challenges and all those hardships, I would have never known what this was like, because there's no whole wholeness in it, like there's no um perspective, I guess you would say,
Mm,
of knowing the depth of what I'm capable of, right?
yeah.
And so by having all these deep experiences from before, I also know that I'm capable of something greater and beyond, an elevation of human consciousness and the potential of what we are absolutely capable of for each other. And to me,
Yeah.
that is so encouraging and it's so beautiful. And I love how you're sharing your story because I see so many beautiful, amazing things that are just emanating out of you, dearest Dasha. It's like
You too. But I think you touched on a really important thing, and maybe some of the people viewing are right now in tech and they don't know that life could be better past that. So I think you and I should go back there for a minute into
Mhm.
our tech careers and kind of
Yes.
describe the day to day and kind of the struggles, because let's put on those glasses, because I remember being in that world, but I didn't know that it's possible to live another world.
Hmm.
It's possible to live another way, because I've never experienced it and I didn't know anyone who had. So
Hmm.
I didn't know that a better life was possible. Like, people talked about it, but it was so far fetched because no one near me has ever done it. So I remember, here, I'll put on my TED glasses. I grew the corporate ladder. By the age of 27, I was software monetization. I helped companies like Bing, like Yahoo, Adobe, Photoshop monetize their softwares online, the different software through the different download processes. Basically, I put a lot of crap on people's computers, and I was very good at it. And I was in sales, and I actually traveled the world for it. I went to ad techs and marketing events in London, in Israel, in Paris, in New York. So I was constantly flying, and I thought I'd made it because I was making 125k plus bonuses at 27, comp travels, business credit card where I would eat for $1,000 a night, drink. But every single night, I was turning to wine and sex and relationships that didn't serve me. So I thought I'd made it, but I still wasn't happy. I had a good number in the bank account. I had a nice high-rise apartment in San Francisco along the Embarcadero. I had a nice title,
So familiar
regional
with
sales
that world.
manager.
Yeah,
Huh?
that's I've been there.
So that's the
Yeah,
glasses. That's the
yeah,
glasses. I
those
had
are the glasses. Like,
a nice
yeah,
car. I
living.
could go do anything I want, but
Hmm.
yet I didn't feel fulfilled. And that's why life had
Yeah.
to throw a drastic event into my world. My mom, getting sick and leaving this dimension within 7 months to really knock me off my feet and be like, why the fuck am I alive? Excuse my language, sorry. Why
No,
am
that's cool. It's
why am
full expression.
why am I here? What is my purpose? That can't be it. Like, if life can be taken away just like that, there's no
Mhm.
way that this is it, that this life was it for me. So that was the catalyst, my mom, my messiah. And what
Yeah.
about you? What about you, Kat? Like, what
Me,
were your corporate classes?
I've been through so many different careers and jobs. There was not one, not a majority of them I just kept getting fired basically because I was not meant to be there. It's like the universe kept shutting it down. It's like shut down. Like I did so well, I would get up to a certain level and I would be like the top salesperson, the top representative. My last job, corporate job that I ever had was working in medical, very similar, had everything, had a nice house, lovely boyfriend, nice car. I was going out every single weekend and vacationing elsewhere, flying, for work back and forth. And then I was so unhappy and I was literally, I was drinking quite a bit just to cope with the stress and I figured like, oh, like how am I gonna like maintain this? I questioned myself so much of like, I'm so stressed out, how am I gonna maintain this? And to maintain it, I took some yoga classes and it changed my life. It
Mm.
balanced a lot of things out while I was being in corporate. And then one of my former teammates offered that like maybe we should have like 15-minute meditation here and there, and I said okay. And then next thing I know, I'm like spending the time leading a lot of people in the meditation space, and then next thing I know, people were staying there longer than what I needed. And I shared this with my friend and I said, so this is what I'm doing now at work. And she goes, have you ever thought about becoming a yoga teacher? Or you seem to be really good at it, and you have a very soothing voice, and you have something about you that I've never seen before. Something's going on. So and the funny thing about this, Dasha, is about 2 weeks after we had that conversation, left my corporate job. It was like a gift, a complete gift. And I said, well, what's the point of life? Like now I've got all the time, and like what is the point? Like I gotta figure out what I gotta do. Like I can't be one of those yoga teachers, like free love story. Really, I was like, really, universe, come on, give me something else. And long story short, I ended up traveling, searching the world for myself. And not only just because I wanted to know who I really am, but I also wanted to know, what am I deprogramming from my entire life? What did I take out of it? I learned so much that a lot of the things that I was taught was pretty much false. And I had to redefine what success meant for me, not for my parents, not for my siblings, of what we all believed that it was going to be before this whole thing happened. But I had to overcome my own personal challenges, and with that was a roller coaster of emotions. And I had gone through like a depression and then came out of it, and then I had to go through my mental health and wellness, and make sure that I'm okay. And then I entered graduate school and studied psychology because I wanted to really figure out, what exactly is this thing that I have discovered that is called consciousness. Scientists keep calling it consciousness, and like the source, or the spiritual teachers and all this. But my background's in science before I went to corporate. I was a geographer before, and my
Wow,
science.
you were a geographer, then you went to corporate, and now,
Yeah, I bought
wow.
the story. I wanted to experience the whole full spectrum of life. So, and I still do. And I
I love how you said I bought the story.
I did. I bought the story, It's like, okay, this is one chapter and that's closed, right? So it's funny because when I look back at how it all unfolded, and how each chapter of my life had led me to where I am now and what I'm doing, I would have never imagined that this is what I would be doing for my life, as part of how I define success for myself, and how I'm co-creating this reality with so many people across the globe, and also earning a life for myself, and the way that I am building this. So I would have never thought that. It was a complete surprise, but it took me to surrendering my own idea of what it was supposed to look like. I had to surrender that idea that I had and just be open to the flow of the energy of where it's leading me. The way that I experience it is, there's a thread here that I have somehow discovered, and it's very subtle. And so I'm going to continue to follow it, and I'm just going to continue to tug on it and pull on it, and then see where it's going to lead me. And then all of a sudden there's a bigger thread and a larger tapestry. And now there's a whole tapestry that's being interwoven and connected and co-created right in front of my eyes in my own experience. And it's so beautiful because it's really how it works. And in a way that's knowing that there's another way of being, another way of living life that is outside of the larger narrative that I have been taught for so many years of my life. I mean, I grew up in a military family. Everything is regimented, everything is to the T, to the schedule. And while that helped me, and it still does to this day with some of the habits that I cultivate for myself, I learned that by being in flow with what is in my highest emanation of my truth and my full self expression, and radical acceptance of what I love to do and share that more with other people, then I'm in my bliss. Then
Amen.
I'm in my constant flow of me and who I am and abundance, prosperity of who that is. And that encourages so many people because they see how passionate and how much I love living life this way because it's my truth. So, and yeah. So I just want to encourage everybody to just sit with that and just breathe with it because it's there. It's in all of us. It's in all of us. It's in Dasha's innermost being of her own truth, and it's in mine, and it's in yours, and it's just going to have its own flavor that is particular and unique to you. Not me, not Dasha.
You.
You.
You touched on some amazingly beautiful points there. So I wanted to revisit two of them, if I may. The hero's journey, this journey of awakening, is by no means a fun one. It's literally like facing the emotions, facing the music of the past, unresolved memories. A lot of things comes to the surface. I've gone through a lot of depression as well, where I didn't know if I was losing myself or if I was going crazy, only to break through to the other side because I continued on with it. But it's no means easy. It's no means one way fits all. It's just a way for you, and there's not like a single medicine or remedy or one transformation path. It's whatever feels good as you are doing it, whatever medicine resonates with you. Maybe it's meditation, maybe it's a psychedelic, maybe it's the breathing. It's whatever resonates with you, as long as you continuously continue on this path and you don't give up and you do the daily work that it takes, continuously doing your transformation path, that you're going to arrive there. But it's really, really hard. It's
I'm
really
so glad
hard.
that you shared that because in order for us to know what it's really like, we have to be courageous enough and stay in courageous love to look at our own mortality.
Yes.
Not a whole lot of people want to go do that.
Yeah, a lot of people push it away, and but then they're blaming their relationships. They're like, why am I unhappy here? Because you are not taking responsibility to walk the uncomfortable, difficult path yourself inward. And now you are looking outside, thinking the world outside is going to somehow change for you, but it's not going to happen until you go and change you, because the world outside will change once you change yourself.
So true.
Nothing outside will make you happy unless you make yourself happy. Nobody can make you whole and complete. Only you can make yourself whole and complete. Two people coming together, not to complete each other, but to be two whole, complete individuals enjoying the company of each other, not putting expectations on each other's happiness, not making love be conditional, because love is not meant to be a bartering system. It's not prostitution. Like, it is just love. Is just love, regardless of what somebody says or does. It's just love. It's a being. It's not even a feeling. It's just who you are. And everyone should be equal and loved in your eyes. Once you feel that love inside of you, then there's no separation between you and anybody else in the world. May it be the president or a poor person in Asia, those two people are exactly the same. That's what love. And you touched on it, Kat, so beautifully. I appreciate you about the journey. Gosh, you've overcome so much, sister. So much. And the second thing you touched on was this abundance. A lot of people that go on this wellness path think that it's impossible to create money, to create abundance. But they don't realize that they don't understand what money actually is. They don't have a relationship with money that allows for the money to come in. They don't create a container, a resonance. They don't know exactly what they want. Because if they started knowing what they wanted, they will start becoming a vibrational match to it, and then speaking from that place of already having it. So most people say, I can't do it. I can't walk this path because I'm never going to make any money. Temporarily, maybe you will not make any money, but when you learn the tools and skills, you will become a vibrational magnet to it when you know exactly what you want. And now you take all the responsibility because you become the CEO of your own life. You're not waiting for a paycheck. You're not helping someone else make their dreams come true. You are making your own dreams come true, expressing yourself and creating abundance, doing what you love. And the hardest is the beginning. It's that first $100, $200, $300. But guess what? Nothing tastes sweeter than making that amount of money wherever you start, doing what you love.
Yes.
Than anything in the world. There's nothing sweeter than saying, here, I did this. I helped you with something that I'm passionate displaying myself. I'm standing here naked. I'm giving you all I've got. And this is the exchange you give me. Thank you. There's nothing sweeter than doing what you love and getting rewarded abundantly for it. Nothing.
Absolutely. You're so right. It's it goes beyond than the numbers that are exchanged. You know, it's cultivating the connection and the relationship between
Right.
the person that you are serving, and then knowing a deeper level of yourself in your own humanity. And so
Right.
connecting that, I like to say, I'm a connector of nodes, you know, like I connect the conscious awareness of my own being with your own being in this interplanetary exchange of what's happening in your own universe with what's happening in my own universe, and how can we co-create this amazing space together. But it really goes beyond that, because nothing can replace that feeling of knowing of satisfaction with not the actual person that I'm serving, but with myself. Like, how happy and satisfied can I feel with my life right now? Because if I know that at any point uncertainty can happen in life, then at least I know I lived full out and I don't have any regrets. I don't have any
Right.
regrets about my life. I know that I live my truth, and I know
Right.
that I shared my truth, and I know that this is who I know I really am, and I'm sharing that truth with you because that is invaluable. That
Right.
is a knowing that in the past only certain teachers and certain lineage holders know, but now we have a way to connect with that through direct experience, because we learn through experience. We don't learn through books. I mean, trust me, my background's in science, scientist. I read, study everything, but there is nothing that can replace direct experience.
Yes, exactly. And it's like when you are laying on your deathbed, knock on wood, hopefully not soon, but you never know. It's like, what are you really going to care about? The number of people whose lives you touched and transformed, or that number in your bank account? And of course, there's a correlation between the two, because the more value you bring to people, the more you're rewarded for it. But you're not going to think of that number. You're going to think about all of these people whose lives you've touched, because you've overcome something and you showed them how to overcome that. And I know that each and every person watching this right now has got something that they've overcome, that they see other people struggling with. Well, that something is your keys. It's the freedom that you can demonstrate to others and be like, hey, brother, you don't have to get upset like that anymore. Let me show you how you can be more patient, how you can be more loving. Hey, brother, you can forgive your mom. Let me explain to you how. Let me talk to you about the love languages. Look at, oh, your mom loved you by acts of service. You really wanted her to hold you, but she didn't know how. But look at that. She provided you with acts of service, with food and shelter. Your mom really did love you. And now that you get it, it can shift everything. Like
Mm-hmm.
just one perspective shift about your childhood, about your interaction at the moment, it changes your whole life. And we all have this. We all have all the wisdom in the world of every guru. But it's like when we are not exercising it, when we're seeing somebody who needs our help and we're not providing that space for that person to transform, we're letting our gifts die, when we're going to work constantly but we are unhappy and we come back home and we don't have any more energy to do anything, but deep in our hearts we wish we were dancing, maybe, or inspiring people how to cook or whatever it is, but we don't have the power to do it, then we are slowly dying inside.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you can take 30 minutes a day toward your dream. Just
Mm-hmm.
30 minutes, like 30 minutes to
Yes.
create your vision board, to do your meditation, whatever your ritual is, to do breath work, or maybe you can, contact one of us if you need help. Like, do something 30 minutes a day that fuels your heart over an extended period of time. That 30 minutes is like days and then weeks, and then before you know it, you're quitting your current lifestyle and you're really living from your heart.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I did in the beginning. When I first started, I couldn't sit for meditation no longer than 3 minutes. I thought it was the silliest thing I could ever do in my day because I'm
Mm,
in my mind, the mind has a way of trying to define things that only our bodies and our inner knowing can understand, can know, right? My mind wanted to wrestle with this thing that I'm doing of just sitting and being and breathing.
mm.
And then the next day I sit down again. It's like, all right, 5 minutes. I can do this 5 minutes. Do it 5 minutes. Next thing I know, it's 30 minutes. Next thing I know, it's 45 minutes. Like, yeah,
Woo!
pretty close to an hour. And the next thing I know, I'm sitting for a couple hours and it just feels so natural now. It feels so good. But that's one example. So, whatever it is for any one of you that is watching this and listening to this at this moment, what is that one thing that you get so lit up with and so excited for that when you get up in the morning, you just cannot wait to get to it? You just cannot wait to get to it. That is that, whatever that is. Make time for that. What Dasha was saying is just maybe at least 30 minutes here and there. You don't have to go and leave what it is that you're doing right now. There's, your responsibilities. You just keep it in balance, right? It's all about making sure that you make time for that part of yourself and nourish that and welcome that and invite that in. You want to invite all parts of the self to
Yeah.
our being and in full radical self acceptance. That's my insight so far to my journey to radical self love and acceptance of who I know I really am. Because even some of the things that in the past I didn't really like to do, I used to hate cleaning the bathroom at some point. I don't think anyone likes doing that. But when I reframed how I looked at some of those most mundane things around the house and the most mundane things that I didn't want to do, then I started to realize with my real eyes that I can enjoy them because there are programs and parts of me that told me that this isn't something that I can do. And that was a limitation. That was a limitation that I placed for myself. And now, you know, I'm okay with doing the things that I don't like to do. But then also, as a part of it, is knowing that these tasks that are not in complete alignment with the things that I know I'm super excited about. And so, the more that you can create space for expanding what those things are, and then also knowing that's an experience that I can accept now and I'm okay with it, just little things around the house. But if they're not in alignment with the thing that you really are not supposed to, there's no supposed in these lifetimes, but but you know that is in your truth and in your knowing, in your emanation of your in complete full alignment with your mission, vision, and your purpose, there's always a way to find the alignment with other people that are excited to do those things with you, not for you, but with you. And
Right.
that's the thing.
Exactly.
And the more that I embrace this idea that, hey, I can be in co-creative creation because we are creators in the planet together, I don't need to struggle. I don't need to hustle for the thing that I am so excited for. And so now there are ways to do this. Everything is figure outable, as my coach would say. There's always a way when you are so passionate and aligned in your clear, crystal clear vision of who you know you really are and what you truly are in alignment with your mission, your vision, and your purpose on the planet. Nothing is going to stop you.
Amen,
Nothing.
sister.
Stop
Woo!
you.
Woo! Did you know? Did you
So,
know that the guy that started KFC was 65 years old? Guess how many
yeah.
no's he got?
Oh,
Guess how
so
many
many.
no's? Yeah,
How,
just guess. Guess.
over 100?
More.
Oh, more. Okay. Yeah, how many?
Oh, come on.
Oh,
Give
wait,
me
I'm not guessing it. Okay,
three guesses. More.
okay. Second one. Like 1,000.
More.
More? What?
So it's just a little.
20,000 times.
Okay, that's too much.
A
A
little
little
bit
bit
too much.
over 1,000. It was like 1,020 times that he got
Oh,
a
wow.
no
Okay. That's
until he got a yes. And the guy is 65 years old.
right.
And he started this. So it's like there's no such thing as it's too late for me. There's no such thing as, oh my God, I've already got enough no that I should give up. If he can do it, so can we do it.
Yes, absolutely.
Anything, anytime. But you touched
Absolutely.
on, Kat, you touched on meditation. And I think some people may find this useful. Some people have the wrong idea of what meditation is. So in my humble truth, meditation is the ability to become the observer of the thought without giving it too much power. Because a lot of people think I have to get rid of my thoughts. Oh my God, I'm sitting here for 5 minutes. My thoughts are running. I can't get rid of them. I must not be good at meditation. And it's like, first of all, it's a practice. It's a muscle, and that takes time. But it's about finding a way to observe the thoughts. Because if you were the observer of the thoughts, would you be the thoughts themselves? How can you observe something if you're it? So if you can observe the thought, you are not the thought.
Mm-hmm.
You are something that must be greater than that thought that you can observe. So in meditation is just becoming present to these thoughts. And yes, eventually you may have still moments, but in the beginning, it's all about just observing and brushing them off like clouds. And meditation can be anything. You can have your eyes open or closed. Meditation is you being in complete and total presence with whatever it is you're doing. And maybe it is cleaning the toilet. and maybe it's doing the dishes, but you're really there with these dishes. You're not like somewhere, what the hell am I going to do after this? Or I can't believe someone cut me in traffic on the way here. You're really present with this one thing you are doing.
Right.
That's meditation. It's nothing more than that.
I like to say that life is the meditation. Life, our whole entire life is a giant meditation, but that's why I've always asked myself, and I asked my teacher this at one point. I said, why is it called practice? Like, what are we practicing for? And she said, well, and she kind of looked at me funny, and she's like, it's just like when you're playing a game and you need to know certain answers on how to do it for yourself, but you need a coach, right? So the practice is when you practice for the actual game. And I thought about this like, oh, that's interesting. Well, what's the game? and she kind of looked, she just kind of stared at me and she said, it's life, it's life
Day-to-day life interactions. That's your
every
game.
day, every
And your
day.
practice is when you're, oh, that's
It's
so good.
practice.
I never thought of it like
It's
this.
practice. And I'm like, oh,
Ah.
I got it now. So, and I'm going to say one more thing about meditation and how people have an idea of meditation is when you quiet the mind and you calm your thoughts, and I'm not supposed to be thinking about anything. It's pretty much impossible to not think about something when you're in meditation, because some people reach a point of samadhi and meditation, and that happens in certain states. However, for a majority of people, especially if somebody has never been experienced or is new to meditation, it's okay to have thoughts, feelings come up, because it's almost like the things that we don't normally listen to or pay attention to on the inside, they get amplified because you're still and you're quiet within, and you get to look at them, because all these things that we do on the external to distract ourselves, to try to solve those things that are going on inside, we now have the space and the capacity to sit with them. So that's why in the beginning, when I remember when I first started meditating, it was so hard to sit with them because they seemed so loud and they seemed so distracting. And I got frustrated many times where at one point, I actually like took my pillow and I threw it on the floor, because I said, I can't do this. This is hard. I have to look at myself. I have to look at my own thoughts. I have to like actually sit with them and be okay with it. And the more that I stopped fighting the have to do this thing, whatever that have to do this thing that I'm telling myself at the moment, the more that I felt okay with just being with myself, with what these things are inside, and then accepting that and just breathing with it. That's the key to your chi when you're meditating, is just breathing. And it's so silly to think that, is it really that simple? Yeah, it really is, because it doesn't have to be such a complicated process. We're called human beings for a reason. We're not human doings. Human beings, because our being of who we really are is always inside, and we can connect with that part of ourselves at any point and at any time. If any of you feel like life is overwhelming, or it's too much, or it's just not as exciting, or you're trying to solve problems. Here's another thing that I have learned over the many years is, whenever I find myself efforting too much, that's when I really need to sit. That's whenever I find myself trying to solve a really big thing and find solutions for the thing that I'm working on, that's when I really need to sit down and be with myself.
Well, that's the art of surrender, right,
Mm-hmm.
Kat? When you are giving the power away of that which you cannot control to a
Yeah.
force that's greater than you, and you're like, I can't do this. I'm gonna give it up to something that's bigger than me. And if
Mm-hmm.
that's meant to be, then it's for me, but I'm gonna give it up. I'm gonna stop trying so hard. I'm gonna go with the flow. I'm gonna relax a little more.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I am trying too hard, and because I'm trying too hard, I'm probably keeping it away from myself, or maybe it's not meant to be. So I'm just gonna find a way to relax, to calm down, to
Yeah.
meditate. I'm gonna give up this thing that I'm doing right now, and I'm gonna go take a walk outside, and I'm gonna hug a tree, and I'm gonna go barefoot, or maybe I'm gonna go jump in the pool, or I'm gonna go work out, or just something else instead of trying to focus on this one thing.
Changing your state is so key to our chi. It's key to your chi, your prana, your life force, whatever you want to call it. It's the key. Unlock the door.
Or
Go in it. We
I
all
love
have it
it.
inside us.
We do.
Well, oh, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I just wanted to say how absolutely and totally present you are.
Yes, I was gonna say that about yourself too. I was just going to thank you and gratitude for your presence and your wisdom that you're sharing with everyone on this podcast. And my dearest Dasha sister, if there's one thing that you can share with everyone that is watching and listening to this podcast right now, what would that be? Let's just say that everything that that we have created on the planet is like no longer valid. If there's one thing that you can share with everyone that is listening and watching on this podcast at this point and watching this video right now, what is that one wisdom that you can share with everyone?
I love this question. This one wisdom that I want to share is that of just being, just accept, forgive, love yourself exactly where you are, because where you are is exactly perfect for you, each one of us. And I want you to feel that perfection of who you are, the being that you are, and the fact that you are breathing, the fact that you are the greatest gift the world has ever known, exactly as you are, with everything that's going on in your life. It's perfect. It's all very perfect. And I just want you to feel it. The being that you are, the perfection of all there is, that's the love. That's unconditional love.
Mm. Thank you so much for sharing that with everyone on the planet right now. Thank you so much, dearest Dasha. And you're doing so much in sharing all this wisdom and your book and continuously creating and co-creating with other people on the planet right now. How can we as a community support you in helping you flourish, thrive, and grow with the work that you are doing?
Oh, that is so very, 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 very kind. Wow, I love you. You are amazing. I have, the books are available, and my meditations and my music on my website, dasha.love. There's no .com, .love. Just check it out. See if you feel in resonance with one of the books, or maybe the meditations, and if anything inspires you, drop me a line. I love hearing how maybe a message that I shared has helped you unlock something. It really fuels me up. And if you're feeling any kind of resonance, like to cooperate on any kind of level, with me, with Kat, I'm sure, like, please, like, if you're feeling this intuitively, then there must be something there. So come to me, come to us. let's make this world more beautiful as a result of working
Yes,
together.
absolutely. Co-created in full fractal force in a space of love.
Yes, 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 yes.
Love.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for having me here. I feel like so much joy and bliss pouring out of me right now.
Me too.
Thank you for
I
doing the
love
work, sister. You're incredible.
Yes, you
You're
too.
radiating so much love.
Keep it going, keep it flowing. You know it. All right, Dasha. Well, thank you so much for your wisdom, your truth, and being present with all of us here at our podcast at Crown and Chakra. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kat. Namaste.
Namaste.